Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see today, I have this pink Balenciaga sweater that you may have seen me wear on several occasions on social media, but things have changed and I would not be caught dead wearing the brand. I've spent thousands of dollars. I've been a loyal customer of Balenciaga. That ends today. I want to make my position very clear that I do not support or endorse Balenciaga. I never will again. And I'm sending this pink sweater back to the pits of hell from which it came. What is up, you guys? Today we are doing a deep dive into the hellish Balenciaga rabbit hole. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've definitely heard that Balenciaga is getting canceled. And in a climate where we may be at this point a bit numb and desensitized to hearing about this brand getting canceled, this person getting canceled, this one's in trouble for doing something wrong, it might not be hitting home how serious the accusations against Balenciaga are. Especially if maybe you're not a customer of Balenciaga, maybe you've never even heard of them, maybe you can write it off in your mind as just something that's happening over there. But I'm gonna explain to you why this is something that everyone should actually be highly concerned with, to say the least. So before we jump into this rabbit hole, I definitely want to get ahead of any accusations that I am participating in cancel culture by doing this video. And I'm going to give this really ridiculous, smooth-brained take about as much effort as I can give without throwing up with one statement. Opposing pedophilia is not cancel culture. It's as simple as that. So now that we've addressed anyone annoying enough to have that takeaway from this video, let's move on. It all started with Balenciaga's horrific choice to feature BDSM teddy bears in an ad with child models. The photos set the internet on fire, rightfully so. The ads feature children laying down with the BDSM teddy bears, being surrounded by beer bottles, wine, fishnets, and an assortment of items that are just not appropriate to be in photos with child models. The children are in bed. It's just a really bad look. And on its face, this is bad enough, right? This is a PR disaster just on its own. But what no one was prepared for was that these photos would actually open up a Pandora's box, revealing years of subtle and not so subtle imagery in Balenciaga ads relating to and specifically depicting child abuse and pedophilia. An ad that could have potentially been written off as a one-time thing, a misstep, a mistake, and just somehow, by the grace of God, missed the higher-ups that could have been smart enough to say this isn't appropriate, we're gonna get backlash for this. The public, honestly, it's sad to say, but probably could have moved on from the one ad. But it's far from one ad. And it's far from innocent people involved in making that ad. And we're gonna get into that because when we get into the actual people that are behind it, there's gonna be a very clear picture painted that Balenciaga is run by pedophiles. In my opinion, of course. In past fashion shows, Balenciaga has made a point to specifically relate these teddy bears to abuse, featuring models that are covered in bruises and blood. Why they would choose those same items to be in photos with children is gonna make more sense as we go along, but you know, there's one thing. Meet the photographer behind the teddy bear BDSM shoot, Gabriel Galimberti, and just a heads up, I'm gonna be mispronouncing names here because a lot of these names are foreign and it is what it is, but that's not the point of the video. An interesting tweet from him on July 31st of this year has come up where he is publicly questioning why restrict child but not guns. I can think of a lot of reasons, but I don't think the point is to really answer that stupid question, right? The point is someone who has created a teddy bear BDSM ad with children has also just so happened to publicly question the restrictions on CP. If 1 + 1 = 2, there you go. I mean, honestly, the thing that we're gonna be doing in this video the most is just connecting the dots, for which there are a lot. This is basically a pedo constellation that we're gonna be unveiling in this video. Speaking of CP, take a look at this ad for a Balenciaga ad. It looks innocent, looks benign at face value, right? But let's just zoom and you can see that there's a document laying beneath the purse, and that document says a lot. It's a Supreme Court ruling from Ashcroft versus Free Speech Coalition. Now, this ruling actually reversed a significant portion of the Child Prevention Act of 1996. Now, why is that important? This is one of the wins for the pedos. This was good news for the pedos. Basically what it did was it ruled that the ban on virtual CP, think of drawings, artwork, you know, CGI, that was within the bounds and it was legal. So again, this was a win for the seediest people among us, pedos, and so it's not exactly a document that any brand that's concerned about their public image would want to display in an ad, and yet Balenciaga did it. And again, if it was only this incident of this one document that some rogue producer on a shoot put in, and somehow, which is really impossible, but somehow, if you really stretch your mind, just slip past all the people that are hired to check for things like that, and then they sued the person and they won, I think the public would be like, wow, we were mad at you, but it wasn't your fault. But when you have that, and you also have the photographer publicly, questioning CP restrictions, the teddy bear BDSM ad, and the litany of things we still have to get through in this video, there's a very clear picture being painted here. I don't want to repeat myself, but it's about painting the picture. At this point, we're on multiple strikes for Balenciaga. Here's another Balenciaga ad that at first glance seems like nothing, but again, we're gonna do some zooming here. There's a book in the background. The author of this book in the stack is by Michael Bormans. Michael Borman's most famous work is called Fire from the Sun, which features imagery of child dismemberment of children, bloody children. Honestly, like most of the art, I am not gonna wanna show on this video, but just know, you can do your own research, it's bad. It's really bad. There's no reason for there to be yet another example of subliminal messaging when it comes to child abuse in a Balenciaga ad. What are we on, strike 4? Strike 5? I'm losing count. This is not a conspiracy theory, especially when it comes to brands as huge as Balenciaga and with as much positive press and attention on them and celebrities that work with them. There is zero part of any ads that are not 110% intentional, and they are absolutely on the hook for all of this. Because again, if it was one shoot that went bad or slipped through the cracks, that's one thing. Still terrible, still worthy of not shopping from them, but you can see how something could potentially happen. No, this is too many things already, and we're like a third through the evidence. The CP court case document, intentional. The photographer publicly questioning CP restrictions, intentional. The teddy bear BDSM, intentional. The book placed in the background depicting child abuse, intentional. And in a way, the use of subliminal messaging when it comes to this is somehow even more sinister than if they just put it right in your face, right? Because they're intending to subconsciously penetrate the mind of their viewers, doing God knows what. And I think it's very clear to anyone paying attention that there is absolutely a concerted effort to normalize pedophilia within Western culture. If you disagree, you're free to disagree, but in my opinion, you're just not paying attention. Meet one of the hottest stylists in fashion who worked at Balenciaga for years, Loda Volkova. She's a Russian fashion editor who has worked with a ton of huge brands, most notably being Balenciaga. She also has a personal relationship with an accused pedophile. We're gonna get to that. It's important to look at someone's social media to really get a good idea of who they are, right? So if you're looking at Blaire White's social media, you're gonna see me, with makeup that I'm proud of putting on my face, with my guns, with my dog, of my life, my friends. What do you see on Loda Volkova's Instagram? Let's just take a look. Images of children are abundant on Loda's social media, almost to the point that it's nauseating. I mean, how much of it can you post? How big of an interest can it be for you that it's overtaking your feed? Imagery of children tied to chairs, being dismembered, in general distress, or just in positions that are clearly like compromising positions are abundant on her social media. It's clearly an obsession, and say hello to those teddy bears making a return on Loda's Instagram, this time a little more blunt than even the ads. Now let's look at the creative director of Balenciaga, Denma. Denma made a very interesting statement about Loda himself and their other friend who we're gonna get to, saying this. Someone wrote that Loda Volkova, Gosha, and I grew up on child and radiation from Chernobyl, which is why we're all so effed up. When someone tells you who they are, it's probably best to believe them. This is not something normal people joke about. And if they joke about it, it's surely not with the added context of actual child imagery on their social media. This could be a dark joke that someone who has no proximity to actual child abuse could potentially make about themselves and their friends. I get it, people say dark things, but you don't say it again with the added context of oh, and I have child imagery on my social media, and I work for a brand that's consistently putting child imagery in their ads. If 1 + 1 = 2. It's basic math here. And that name, Gosha, let's take a look at him. Oh, shocker. He has been literally accused of soliciting nudes from an underage boy, 16 to be precise. It's very, telling that along this trail, this person also is there, right? A boy who accused him posted the conversation, which you can see here. Send me now something from the bathroom. I can't, it is my mom's bedroom. You can go to the bathroom and do it quickly, please. I don't believe your mom. Come to the bathroom together with you. Obviously, English isn't this person's first language, so it's not me speaking correctly. She doesn't go with me. She's in there now. Can go when she's gone. Okay. Please. What is this desperation? You sick. We'll try. Otherwise tomorrow. Can't wait for tomorrow. Wow. I mean, these people show you who they are. This is not complicated. And they very obviously get off on mocking you, showing you who they are in public, and maintaining just the right amount of cover of being artistic that they get away with it. Check out this video of Balenciaga handing out bloody purses with fake babies in them.
What's in your bag?
In my bag, like stuff for baby.
This is like, should we do a what's in your bag?
Yeah, can we do a what's in the bag, please?
Should I hold it for you and you can take the things out?
Excuse me.
Yeah. Look, there's like when she starts to cry, like then when she gonna pee, I don't know. Then when she's boring,
She's
gonna
boring.
get this. Yeah, everything possible.
I'm glad I waited a week to do a video about this because every day that I've waited, more things have come out about this, and it's just insane. To the point where Balenciaga has wiped all of their social media because people were going back and saying, hey, what about this? What about this? And finding actual things. The CEO of Balenciaga's parent company sells child sex mannequins. Did you know that? I'm not gonna put any of the photos up minus one that I'm going to heavily censor because they are that graphic, but they are essentially all mannequins of children, some with their legs spread, with their genitals exposed, and like deformations on their face with genitals growing out of their face, holes in their face. It's like, if this really just all has to do with art and y'all are just so edgy and just the little people just don't get it, right? I'm sorry, are you interested in art depicting anything other than child? Because at this point, it's like all you can find on their socials. The CEO's name is Francis Henry Pinault, and he is Salma Hayek's husband. What's up, Salma? So let's just check in, because this is like a lot, right? And I just hit you with a lot of information at once. We have more, but let's just check in really quick. It's clear that this goes much deeper than a tone-deaf teddy bear ad. And the silence of virtually all of Hollywood, every brand that works with Balenciaga, every celebrity that accepts money from them, that appears in their ads, like, it's blaring. Almost no celebrities have actually come out and condemned Balenciaga for their actions and their ads, which is funny because the last time I checked, just with the current state of things, celebrities love nothing more than jumping on any and every opportunity to have this moral high ground, preach to people that they find this thing wrong, cancel this brand, cancel this person, refuse to work with this person. All they do is condemn stuff. And I tweeted, and I stand by my tweet, and this one actually went like very viral, I think, just because it's objectively true, that if Balenciaga had done an ad that offended the LGBT community, say they made some sort of like slight against non-binary people or something, every celebrity that works with them would have come out overnight and denounced them. Why don't we see that same type of reaction here? You tell me in the comments. In a world where people and brands are getting canceled for decade-old tweets and for the slightest violation of like woke law, right? No one can find it within themselves in the public sphere to be like, Balenciaga, like, I'm just not buying it. And it's pretty sinister if you think about it, the refusal to condemn it. Because this should be the easiest thing in the world. There's not an easier line to draw. In fact, the corporate press has very begrudgingly even covered this story, and the ones that are covering it are often, in a way, defending or trying to deflect and write this off as a right-wing conspiracy theory. Kim Kardashian is one of the only celebrities to actually come forward, say it's disgusting. However, she's currently reevaluating her relationship with the brand. Now, Kim routinely appears in Balenciaga ads. In many ways, Kim is sort of synonymous with Balenciaga. Certainly when I think of Balenciaga, I think of people like Kim Kardashian, Cardi B, who made their sneakers very famous and sold those out. You know, there are certain celebrities that are just very silent that have appeared in a lot of these ads. Kendall Jenner. What's going on, guys? I mean, Kim Kardashian is so independently rich from Balenciaga. Like, she has income stream upon income stream. She probably has more income streams than like almost any other celebrity. So the fact that she needs that one extra income stream with Balenciaga, that she's too afraid to cut ties, that is a level of greed that, like, I don't know, what's the point of even like being human at that point? Do you have any lines you draw ever? Have you lost your humanity? But then again, it runs in the family because Kanye was wearing Balenciaga on InfoWars after the controversy, defending Balenciaga. while also defending Hitler, which please believe we'll get into that on the next podcast episode. And their daughter, Northwest, was seen wearing a Balenciaga GIMP mask. That's appropriate. Yeah, let's put our child in a GIMP mask. Like, are you... The View, one of the most cancerous television programs on television, had some thoughts as well.
What's going on here?
I found this ad campaign particularly distasteful in this moment. So there's growing anti-LGBTQ sentiment right now, and how it's being framed is as portraying, trans people as groomers. This is a term you'll hear on the far right. They're groomers. This is where you get the anti-drag queen stuff that we're seeing. So Balenciaga played right into their hands by having kids in a sexualized manner, carrying something that represents, sex acts. I think it was a really bad misstep at a moment where it's just kind of a dangerous time to even give credence to those kind of insane takes.
Yeah.
Now, this is the dumbest woman I've potentially ever heard speak on television, and it's actually quite shocking that someone like that can even end up on television spewing their bullshit. How is condemning pedophilia playing into the hands of the far right or offending the LGBT community? Please explain that to me. Like, do you really want to make anti-pedophilia a right-wing virtue? Because that is what you're doing when you're sitting up there on this liberal television show, this liberal network, refusing to condemn pedophilia because you don't want to offend gay people? Have we reached a point where condemning pedophilia is a partisan act? Because I'm sorry, it's the point of no return if that's the case. If that's the case, it's a wrap. In a world where the left and right can find no agreement on seemingly any issue, I would hope to God that this is the one that we can. Liberals that are watching this video, for which I know there are a lot of you, and I love and appreciate everyone who disagrees with me politically that still watches me and supports my right to disagree with them, as I support yours to disagree with me. Liberals that are watching, please make it clear in the comments that it is not a right-wing virtue to be anti-pedophilia. This is a human virtue. And for whatever reason, this on The View can't meet that human virtue, but everyone else will for her. Don't worry about it. We got it. Kim Kardashian, we got it. Now, I am not a very spiritual person. I am not religious. I really don't have a belief in God. And I'm not someone who overreacts to dark imagery. I'm a fan of metal music, which often features dark imagery in their album covers, music videos, songs, etc. I'm someone who enjoys horror movies. I'm not someone that sees a scary image and is like, oh my God, this is the devil. However, the same way that I can observe when people who believe in God are acting out their belief in God in their decisions and in their business is the same way I can look at someone who believes in Satan and is acting out that belief and that loyalty, right? One cannot exist without the other. I don't necessarily believe in demons, at least in the literal sense. However, that doesn't mean other people don't. And it's very clear that there are people who are evil. I mean, you don't have to believe in God or the devil to admit there are people working in the interests of God and the devil, prospectively, because they believe in it. There are examples upon examples of Satanism, occult imagery, seen in Balenciaga ads. There's one ad in particular where there's a special, unique Balenciaga bracelet that has 2 A's to spell out Balenciaga rather than 1. And if you enter Bale in Ciaga in Google Translate, guess what it says? It says Baal is the king. Baal is another word for the devil. So again, I don't have to believe in the devil to be like, wow, these are some devil-worshipping asses, right? And call me crazy, but I just don't want that kind of energy on my body or in a bag that I'm holding or sneakers on my feet in general. If that's their vibe, that's not a vibe I want on me and in my space. Balenciaga's response has been piss poor. And I mean, they have to be panicking, but the way they're handling it is pretty, they've been caught, period. They filed a lawsuit against the producers of the teddy bear shoe, claiming that they had no knowledge. But as of today, December 3rd, that I'm filming this video, they have dropped that lawsuit. Why? Because it wasn't just the producers, it's the whole company, clearly. Denma, the creative director, who publicly said that he grew up on child pornography, issued a public apology. I want to personally apologize for the wrong artistic choice of concept for the gifting campaign with the kids, and I want to take my responsibility, the designer wrote. It was inappropriate to have kids promote objects that had nothing to do with them. He continued, adding that although he wants to provoke a thought in his campaigns, he would never have an intention to do that with an awful subject as child. And yet you did. And yet you've joked about it in the past. And yet you're friends with someone who's actually accused of pedophilia. And yet you're friends with Loda, who has nothing but child abuse on her social media. Now, I want to say one thing. This had me thinking. Groups, The way humans work in groups is they naturally gravitate towards other people of that group. This is just a fact. We are tribal beings. And the same way that gay people tend to hang out with gay people, black people tend to hang out with black people, white people tend to hang out with white people, with obvious exceptions, we live in a very diverse world, still rings true that there are neighborhoods of cultivated communities, right? This is just a fact. I don't really see why pedophiles would operate any differently. Seems to me that they have even more of a reason to hang out with each other, work together, hire each other, because they're the only people like them, they're monsters, and they're the only people that think each other isn't a monster for having that sickness. So to me, it is not far-fetched that when you find one pedo in an industry, you're gonna find a bunch. I think they stick together like any other group does. Why are you joking about you and your friends growing up on CP when there's someone accused of trying to get CP from a minor with proof, and another one who's posting child abuse imagery all over the stuff, and you're creating campaigns about child abuse? If 1 + 1 = 2, it is 2. There's no coincidences here. It is what it is. And now, as consumers, you are left to make up your own mind. And I understand that the price point for these items are higher than what most people are willing to spend. Frankly, I'm questioning my own decision to spend $2 grand on that stupid pink sweater and any other items I bought from them. Like, now I'm feeling pretty stupid for that. I think I'm gonna, going forward, reevaluate why I'm spending so much money on designer labels, because the thing about it is, these designer labels, their value is so high, at least monetarily, because of the coolness factor. They're being seen on people like Kim Kardashian, they're being seen on people like Cardi B, and on a smaller scale, they're being seen on YouTubers like Blaire White. This is what sells the items. I have no doubt that there's someone out there who has bought the Balenciaga items they've seen me wear because they like me. And that's really the problem with these celebrities not speaking up, right? They are the reason there is so much value in these items. Because you look cool wearing them, because you're famous and you can afford it. So the biggest thing that could happen to take down Balenciaga is celebrities disavowing, and yet they won't. I do think the celebrities are not gonna wear Balenciaga for a while. Kanye's the only one that has, but I'm guessing that once it all blows over, for which unfortunately, despite how extreme it is, it may blow over, you'll slowly start seeing them wear Balenciaga again, but I'll be there in the comment section to call them out, will you? I just don't think that all of these facts in constellation are a coincidence. If you disagree and you want to give Balenciaga that wiggle room and that pass, that's on you. But I will err on the side of these people being evil, satanic pieces of pedophiles, because that's what they've shown themselves to be, and that's all I can go off of. That is it for this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well as my podcast channel. I'm doing weekly podcasts on youtube.com/The Blaire White Project, and it is honestly a passion project and so fun, and I'm having so much fun watching it grow, and you guys enjoy it. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.